What up, guys? The Bench Buddies are back with my Week 5 NFL Power Rankings and some big movers this week as we got the Jaguars moving up 13 spots and the Bengals keep on free falling with Joe Burrow out. And we'll start from 32 to 29, and we see those Bengals at 29 getting smoked on Monday Night Football against the Broncos on the road, and you get rewarded with the Lions coming to your place who are playing some really good football. So things just get from bad to worse there for those Bengals. Jets, Titans, and Saints are the remaining winless teams here in the NFL. Jets probably had the most competitive game, almost beat the Dolphins there on Monday night, but they just couldn't get it done as they get Dallas at home. Titans, unfortunately, this team just looks awful. Means it's cheaper tickets for me, so probably be going to more games this year. They get the Cardinals on the road. And then the Saints made it competitive against the Bills there, hung around for most of the game, but they just couldn't, get that one drive to really put them into consideration of possibly winning that game. I know they lost by 12, covered the spread there, but they get the Giants here at home this week and a better chance to win that game. 25 through 28. I moved the Panthers up 11 last week, and they responded by moving down 8 spots because this team just got blown out on the road in New England. I thought this team would have a little more fight after blanking the Falcons the week before. This team came out flat and it just didn't show, but they have a good chance to rebound this week against the Dolphins. Browns, it's kind of same thing here. They just didn't play good enough in this one. They played Green Bay, beat them obviously, and then they just haven't really had a better game since. The Lions game, they got blown out. Wasn't really much of a contest there. Another NFC North opponent as they get the Vikings at home, and the Vikings with Carson Wentz look really good right now. So it's going to be a tough challenge for those Browns. Raiders lose to the Bears on a heartbreaking missed field goal. Hopefully they can rebound, possibly maybe steal a win in Indianapolis against Daniel Jones. But this Raiders team and Ashton Jeanty now finally being able to run the ball is going to be a whole new Raiders team. And then the Texans finally get on the win column against the Titans, blank them at home, which is a much needed win for that defense and that offense as well, succeeding very well. And they get the Ravens here in a huge game for both those teams because whoever loses that is going to 1-4. And more than likely, the playoff chances go from slim to almost none. 21 through 24, all these teams didn't lose. The Cowboys tied, and I guess you could take that how you want, but Falcons move up 5, Giants move up 7, Dolphins move up 5, all with wins here. Falcons dominating win against Mariota and the Commanders. Giants win a very surprising win there. Obviously, with Jackson Dart's first start, they win that one against the Chargers, but Malik Neighbors done for the year with a torn ACL, so it's a huge loss there. Same for the Dolphins, huge loss there for Tyreek Hill, done for the year with a torn ACL, fibula, tibia. Pretty much his whole knee is just destroyed, so he's done for a while. They get the Panthers though this week, and this team, Dolphins team, if they can play that kind of brand of football, they might be 2-3, possibly even get back to 500. And same goes there for the Giants. 17 through 20. 20, you get the Bears getting a win on a blocked field goal as they enter their bye. I think they're very happy to be 2-2 at this point in the season. Patriots move up 3 to 19 with a dominating win over the Panthers and a huge week this week. If they want to get back into the AFC East race, they got to pretty much beat the Bills here or else they'll be 3 down in the division. Commanders fall 4 spots after losing to the Falcons. I will give them credit though. Without McLaurin and without Jane Daniels, this team really gave it a run for their money. The big concern there is the backfield, though. It's just a committee, and we don't really know who can pop off when and where. So that's kind of the big question mark for the Commanders as they hopefully can get McLaurin and Daniels back this week in a big matchup against the Chargers on the road. Then the Vikings, a heartbreaking loss as they came all the way back from, I think it was what, 24 to, I think it was 6, 24 to 6, I believe it was. Yeah. And they just couldn't get one last drive as they couldn't stop the Steelers there at the end. But they go to London now, Ireland to London. They're going to play Cleveland there. And it's Cleveland, so they got to travel across the country where the Vikings are already accustomed to it. So I expect the Vikings here to possibly get another win here, get back over 500. 13 through 16, 2 NFC North teams here. The Ravens going in the wrong way after their loss to the Chiefs. Lamar's injury, nobody knows how long. If he is going to be out, for how long? That's the big question mark for them if there is an extended absence there for the Ravens. But then the other side of it is the Steelers. Steelers might run away with this NFC North at this point. They're 3-1. They go into their bye week. Ravens are free falling, Bengals are free falling, and the Browns are browning. So It's really just the Steelers' division to lose, I feel like, at this point. It's a great win for them in Ireland as they return home. Aaron Rodgers is playing some better football, a week to really learn the system better and possibly get more in touch with DK, because DK has obviously been balling out with Rodgers. Then you get the two NFC West teams here. Seahawks and Cardinals played each other on Thursday night. Seahawks get that win with a game-winning field goal at the buzzer as the Cardinals stormed all the way back in this one to make it a close game, but just couldn't stop them when they had to, and a bad kickoff gave them great field position. As the Seahawks get the Buccaneers in a huge game for both those teams, as they're both sitting 3-1. Then the Cardinals 2-2 against the Titans at home, which is a very winnable game there to get back over the hump of 500. 9 through 12, and I have the Broncos going from 17 to 12, dominating win against the Bengals. Defense showed out here in this one. Bo Nix looked great. And can this be the team that goes into Philly and beats the Eagles to end their undefeated season? It's definitely possible because we've seen what Philly has done at home and how many close games they have played this year. Niners fall not only from my top five, but out of the top 10. I know you could definitely make the case that they could still be in the top 10, move the Packers out. Same for the Chiefs. But how I see it is the Niners, got everybody back that could play in this one besides Kittle, and it just wasn't there for me. They get the Rams this week on the road. Huge game for the NFC West, as there's three teams in the NFC West that are 3-1. Then obviously those Cardinals are 2-2. But the Niners, I'm sure they can get back on track here this early for them being 3-1. I don't think too many people were counting on this Niners team being one of the better teams this year, but anything is possible there for the Niners out west. My Packers at 10, I'm moving them down to, they tied. If they won that game, I probably would have kept them at 8 as well. 40 to 40, you put up 40 and lose, and you give up 40 and pretty much lose is how I view it. I view it as a loss, but it could help them later in the year as a tiebreaker, because, not too many teams are probably going to tie games this year, but they go into their bye week kind of regrouping and really figuring out how this team can play some better football and win games late when it matters, because that's kind of been their struggle so far this year against the Browns and now against the Cowboys. Chiefs at 9, beat the Ravens at home. Mahomes looks great. Worthy finally back, and he exploded onto the scene. Rashee Rice is back here in 2 weeks after week 6. This Chiefs offense, if they can go into Jacksonville and get that win against a hot Jaguars team, I think everyone's going to be right back on that Chiefs bandwagon of them possibly making another run at a Super Bowl. 5 through 8, and the Chargers go from 3-8 after a hard loss on the road to the Giants. Get the Commanders this week. That Chargers defense, I think they kind of, I don't want to say overlooked it, but it definitely was a game where you play all three AFC West opponents, and then you go play the Giants across the country. So maybe just a little different motivation there in that one, as they lose a shocker. Colts, same thing, lose a tough one to the Rams on the road. And, it was a great game. That's why I'm only dropping them one spot here from 6 to 7. Raiders this week. I don't want to say it's a must win, but they got to rebound well, because if they can get this win, then I think more people are going to actually buy into the Colts. Where if they lose this one, I think it's just going to be kind of like the Saints did last year. Won the first two on fire and then just fizzled out. And I hope that isn't the case here for the Colts. And another AFC South team is those Jacksonville Jaguars, just doing what they got to do to win some ball games. And 19-6, obviously 13 spots moving up, beating the Niners on the road, which feels like impossible to do in this day and age, in the Kyle Shanahan age. Liam Cohen doesn't care. He just goes in there, gets the win. Obviously, post-game beef with Salah and Cohen. Um, Good to see the Jaguars being relevant again already after 4 games in the season. T-Law isn't doing too much, but I'm sure he's going to turn in some big games here shortly. And they get the Chiefs, like I mentioned earlier. If they can beat the Chiefs, there's no doubt in my mind that this team's heading into the top 5 next week. And heading into the top 5 is those Detroit Lions beating up on the Browns. And the case there after week 1, this team has been arguably one of the top 3 teams in the NFL, and that's why I'm rewarding them here with a top 5 ranking. And they get the Bengals, and they'll probably do the same thing the Broncos did and blow them out in Cincinnati. And then 1 through 4. Are we really shocked that it's Eagles and Bills at 1 and 2? No, because they're the only remaining undefeated teams. Then the Rams come in at 3 because, well, you beat the Colts, who was undefeated, and your only losses to the Eagles at the buzzer. So this Rams team could easily be the number 1 team, number 2 team, if one kick goes their way. So it doesn't really make any more sense to not have them at 3. And then I'm keeping the Bucks at 4. Same thing goes for them. They lost to the Eagles on a heartbreaker. at the end. And unfortunately, that's just where we are. So I got the two teams that have only had one loss, both losing to the Eagles, and really shows me that the Eagles are really a good team when it matters most. I mean, they didn't even throw for completion in the second half and still found a way to win this game. So the Bucks did great on defense. It just was too little, too late. As the first half, they just exploded onto the scene. That's why the Bucks here are still at 4. But give props to the Eagles and the Bills. Keep on finding ways to win ball games, as the Eagles have a tougher test than the Bills do this week. But anything can happen on any given Sunday.